The following episode contains content that some viewers may find offensive. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is your city. This is your city wants to know. We want to know the background, the heartbeat of what makes up our beautiful cities. We dig into the backstories, from the struggles to the successes of our local entrepreneurs, small business owners, artists, not-for-profit organizations, and the many, many people who make up the intricate tapestry of our communities. Real people, real stories, by you and for you. But wait, that's not it. I love giving my opinion. Just ask anyone who knows me. We can't get enough of the honest, gritty feedback of places that we spend our hard-earned money. I'll give you the good, the bad, and the ugly of the places I eat, sleep, and visit. Disclaimer, my opinion only. All right, so come on, let's get to it.
Hey everyone, Kim here. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of This Is Your City. I do have to warn once again that this video is going to have some pretty disturbing content. I did a video on the sex trade industry in Hamilton and Ontario, and I said that I would be going a little bit deeper into that, and that's kind of what today is. So it is quite disturbing. I could speak a long time on this subject because there is so much content to speak on. So as I had mentioned in the first video, I probably will be doing a few videos on this subject because I truly believe we need to stand up, we need to have a voice, and we need to do what we can. Even if we can never stop this, because the sickness has been going on since the beginning of time, we can still be a voice and do what we can to minimize it. And so this week, it's not going to be necessarily on the sex trade industry with children, but it's going to be more on child pornography and what's been going on in our area with that. First, before I get into that, there was a couple months ago, I think this was in June of 2020. I might be off on my date a little bit, but it was a couple of months ago. We had a court case that was going on in Niagara Falls, and the judge that was preceding that case, he had a lot to say. Now, this judge, his name is Harry Brownstone, Judge Harry Brownstone in the Niagara region. And this is what he had to say. He said, "Since my time in the Niagara region, after spending 24 years as a judge in Toronto, I am dumbfounded by the sheer number of child pornography incidences in this region." He's in the Niagara region, close to the American border. 24 years this man spent behind the bench, seeing all sorts of unimaginary things. And he's saying that in all of that time, he is dumbfounded by the sheer number of child pornography cases in the region. He was saying these comments while he was proceeding over the hearing of a person named Lloyd Little. Again, I won't call him a man named Lloyd Little, because he's not a man. He was saying that. And during the hearings, what they found, the collection of this Lloyd Little, he had 347 videos representing 347 destroyed children. Let me say that again. He had in his collection 347 videos and 74 images. 347 videos of children. And like I said, that is 347 destroyed children. The judge goes on to say, there's a very good reason. Now, before I read this, I want to put a little warning here. What the judge said. When I first read it, I actually had to stop reading because I started to cry. And this is what the judge said. There is a very good reason why the vast majority of videos of child pornography have no sound. And that is because the children are screaming at the top of their lungs because their insides are being ripped open. That's what the judge said. The fact that anyone can be sexually aroused or derive any kind of pleasure from brutally torturing and exploiting children, toddlers, is absolutely mind-boggling. This is from a judge that has seen it all over the decades. He has seen everything. And he couldn't form the words to describe this man except to say that he descended into the pits of hell when he made these decisions. And you know, a lot of the times these children who are exploited, it's from their parents or their caregivers or their guardians. Here's some information that's pretty disturbing as well. I don't know if any of you out there have seen the headlines for this new series coming on Netflix, and I'm not going to say the name. This new series, it's dubbed artistic, a form of artistic expression. While law enforcement fights child exploitation, Netflix streams it into your home. And they go on to say that this series is worse than anyone can imagine. On this news ad that I was reading, it had a headline warning that if you're going to continue reading or click on some of the clips that they had, that you need to be warned that this film featuring 11-year-old girls were twerking, touching each other, dancing in provocative ways, and doing other things that no child should be doing. These were 11-year-olds. I have to tell you, I did not click on any of those links. We can't. No matter how tempting it is to see, what are they talking about? What is this disgusting things that they're talking about? We cannot click on those links, folks. We can't. No matter how tempting, you cannot go down that rabbit hole. You don't want to go down that rabbit hole. We have to stop this evil. We cannot watch even a minute of a clip just to see what they're talking about. We cannot give it more feet to run with. Actually, maybe I will say the name of this series. My fear in saying the name of this series is that it would plant a seed in your mind and make you want to go see it just to see what people are talking about. But I'm going to tell you, because if you hear it, then you know 100% just stay away. Don't even click. Don't even say, oh, I wonder what this is. Because remember, it's dubbed as an artistic expression. The name of the Netflix series is called Cutie. QTs, plural. And I'm asking you to do your part. Don't give it feet to run with. Don't give in to that temptation. Don't even click on it. There's one person that was talking about this film, and they said, every adult involved in the production, the marketing, and the distribution of this film should be registered as a sex offender. And I agree. I 100% agree. Anybody involved in this film of 11-year-old girls should be prosecuted. And I read an article from CBC News that was saying that the low age of consent in Canada is what's luring these pedophiles to come here. It said that we need to push for the law of consent to be raised back to 16, where it was, instead of the lowered age of 14. Now I ask you, why do you think they lowered the age to 14 in the first place? Detective Constable Paul Quach, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It's Quachix. I apologize. He's an undercover police officer with the Toronto Police Service's Child Exploitation Unit. He works in a very grave place in the police department. And if any of you people out there are praying people, I ask that you pray for this man and anybody else who works in that department to protect their minds and their hearts. He says, I've been in a pedophile chat room so many times that discuss Canada having such a low age of consent that they tell other pedophiles to travel to Canada because of that. So it kind of makes sense why this judge in the Niagara region was saying that he is flabbergasted, dumbfounded of the rising cases in that area because it's so close to the American border. If these pedophile sites are telling other pedophiles, hey, come to Canada, the age of consent is so low. And if you remember the last video, why so many young people are getting caught up in this? Because these men are saying that the young people are easier to manipulate. 60-year-olds are engaging in sexual activities with 14-year-olds. It needs to be changed. Constable, he was saying, it needs to be changed. It is so not appropriate. In fact, here's something really interesting. In America, the Americans can be persecuted under American sex tourism laws for coming to Canada and having sexual relationships with children 14 or over. It's ironic because in Canada, we can't prosecute them. And yet Americans coming here and taking advantage of our children, when they go back, they can face criminal prosecution and lengthy imprisonment. What is wrong with that? Does that make any sense to you? They're coming over here because of our lowered age of consent, one of the reasons. If they get caught, they can get prosecuted over in their own country, but they can't get prosecuted here because it's not illegal. There were some reports I was reading, there's so many reasons, and some of the reports were suggesting that the liberal law was to satisfy and satiate some of the tradition of child marriages from other ethnic groups. Because it is growing so incredibly high in this country, which also draws more pedophiles. It's sick and it's twisted. It's not normal. It's not normal. It's not to each their own. Just to give you a few examples, a few facts. I mean, I don't have enough time to give you all of them, but here in the area, a couple of weeks ago, there was a 38-year-old man in Thorold who was sentenced to 5 months behind bars for being convicted of similar offenses. A Welland man received a 90-day sentence after he admitted he sent a mother of 3 children a series of text messages that met the legal definition of child pornography. He sent some woman some pictures and he got 90 days. 90 days and 5 months. 2 separate cases. That's it. If it's becoming such a pandemic in this country, in this province of Ontario, why such lenient sentences? A 22-year-old man, a 22-year-old, and a youth offender from Brampton are facing human trafficking charges after police found 2 teenage girls in a Burlington hotel room in July. It's not just men. A Brantford man and a woman a couple years ago were charged when 2 young teenagers were forcibly set in situations where they were abused and controlled and forced to do sexual favors for these people's clients. And they were arrested in this human trafficking ring. The 2 arrested were 18 and 22. This past April, 5 men were arrested in Hamilton. The combined devices of these 5 men that were confiscated contained over 8,000 images and videos of child abuse and exploitive material. Apparently these men don't know each other. They were unrelated cases. This just tells us that the devil is running rampant in Ontario. He's running rampant in Hamilton. 8,000 images and videos of children being sexually abused and exploited. So that means under 14. The number of child pornography reports that the police get has grown exponentially. That's their words, exponentially in the recent years. And they're saying the reason for this, one of the reasons, I mean, there's many reasons, is because of more streamlined approach to the reportings. So most of Hamilton's cases are Facebook, Google, Twitter. They have these monitoring things in place that automatically detect content. But I personally believe that this monitoring process is, it's just ridiculous. They've shut down people for having their own political opinions on what's going on with COVID or any other political opinion. They've shut them down. But I myself have seen questionable images. I mean, questionable, not like, well, you know, maybe it's nothing to do with people posting pictures of their family on a summer vacation on a beach in their bathing suits. No. And if they don't find something past that worthy of taking it down and monitoring, but they can shut down political opinions, there's something wrong. In many of these cases, images are being shared using the big social media companies. They said they're seeing more coming from cloud sharing and cloud storage than ever before. And here's something that's really sickening. Not surprising, but sickening. Hamilton police are saying that since COVID-19 lockdown, if you will, they've seen an increased rise in cases. So when asked why, Constable Adam Bulgari of Hamilton says, kids are at home. Parents are online. That is disturbing. There's more cases because more people are at home with more opportunity to go online and search it out. They have to be searching it out. In Hamilton alone, there were over 180 investigations received by the ICE unit last year. So far this year, there's 203 as of last month, including 60 active cases. It's risen. That's too many, folks. That's too many. And that's only the ones they know about. There are tons more that they don't know about. They said that that social services and different services out there know of more cases than the police do because the victims are terrified to come forward or coerced or threatened, whatever it may be. They're not coming forward. And so those are the only the cases the police know about. These are children, remember, not adults, not young adults, children, the ones who have no voice. And the more I started reading court documents and the more I started reading news articles, deeper and deeper into my study I realized that there's a pattern in today's world. In this world of inclusion and the society that has helped universalism become the fastest growing religion in the world, it's no wonder that the numbers are rising, globally rising at an exponential rate. Well, children under 12 are the largest target of more and more people. You know, you see this, you do you be whomever you want to be, whatever makes you happy, you go with that. You should just do it. That kind of world. We've opened the doors to more than I think we intended with this, you do you be you. Many people have been screaming that this is a danger to do. These doors that are opening because people are being who they think they are. And when I say that, it's because pedophilia is becoming almost normalized now. I'm not kidding. You may not watch news, and I'm not talking about the CNN, Fox, these news medias that are in the back pocket of the highly rich corporations and political people. If you read, you'll see that I'm not kidding. BBC, CBC, NBC, all of these world global places have been talking about it for a while, the rise in pedophilia. And I was reading some articles like on psychology and some legal articles that are happening in North America. Never mind the rest of the world. It's exploding all over the world. But I'm going to talk about Canada and the United States here, North America. I've been reading these legal documents and in psychology reports where they're starting to say that it's kind of normal. Not that it's right. I'm not saying it's right. I haven't heard anybody say it's right. But they're normal. Because what they're trying to tell us is that, as a matter of fact, one article said, as a matter of fact, it suggests that a very high percentage of men, some women, mostly men, are actually attracted to children, but just don't act on it. A huge percentage of our population is actually attracted to little children. That's what they're trying to make us believe. And I pray to God that is not true. I was reading some interviews with some journalists interviewing men who say they are pedophiles. One journalist was doing some cases on this, trying to understand it a bit. And these men who are saying that, yes, we are pedophiles, but not the loose way that people in the world use it today. We're not horrible people that go out hurting children. They admit that they're sexually aroused by them, but they won't hurt them or force themselves on children. Though the biggest percentage of these people admit to watching content online with children. Now you tell me how that's not hurting them. Because if they're watching content online, those children have to be being exploited. So somewhere in their mind, are they justifying that because they're not touching the children, they're not acting on their pedophilia emotions? One guy in particular, he said his age of attraction was anywhere from 1 to 15. 15 being very high. He wasn't really attracted to most 15-year-olds. He said he doesn't act on these impulses because he knows he can go to jail. This guy was 22 years old. Admitted that 1-year-olds turned him on. And some doctors are normalizing this, saying it's cross wires. It's not their fault. They're born this way. Okay? The BBC News article had a big, bold letters warning on these articles that I was reading with these interviews. I should have taken heed, but I was doing some research and I read some of these things and it made me ill. And one of the journalists went on, it was talking about different things with these articles, and people are in a world right now where it's too many accept anything as long as it doesn't affect them. It could go on in the world, and they might stand up, talk about it, oh, that's terrible, but they won't do anything. They won't stand up against it. As long as they're not bothering me, let them do what they want to do. As long as they're not hurting my children. This is this journalist saying this. They're ready to accept anything as long as it doesn't affect them directly. Everything I shared with you is factual. The content I choose, I look up out of public legal documents, news articles, documentaries, readily accessible to anybody who dares do the legwork. This is happening, folks. This is real. This is our world. Our Hamilton Police Society, our judges are all talking about how the rise in child pornography in our area is scary. With the rise of child pornography, we're having a rise of sexually exploited children. We're having a rise in, as I talked about the last article, sex slavery. More and more children are being exploited for sick pleasures of many. Not few anymore, far too many. In the next few years, they're saying that we'll find ourselves in a society where children will be bred for this sort of thing. You don't think that's already happening? Of course it's already happening. If it's a lot of the parents, especially over in other parts like we talked about before in the Philippines and stuff, it's huge. There was an article on World Vision last year that I watched, and they were talking about that exact thing. Over in some of these other countries where rich white men particularly can travel because they don't really crack down on those laws. People are having children so that they can make a lot of money in this industry. I hope this sickens you. I hope this sickens you enough to say, okay, I knew it was happening. I just didn't know that it was getting so bad. It's not me, Kim Wardell, telling you this is getting bad. This is the people who govern us are telling us. They are putting billions of dollars to fight this. Our government, Doug Ford, I told you about that. Billions of dollars in North America to fight this. It's happening and it's getting worse. No matter what your faith, no matter what your belief, no matter what your religion, I don't know, but for me personally, there is a scripture and it talks about if anyone causes one of these little ones who believes in me to stumble, it would be better for him to have a large millstone hung around his neck to be drowned into the depths of the sea. Anyone who harms the children would be better off having a millstone tied around their neck and thrown into the depths of the sea. It's got to stop. We have to pray. We have to stand up. We have to choose that we don't want this to happen anymore. Not close our ears and close our eyes and pretend it doesn't happen. God will deal with these people who destroy the innocent lives. I will be a voice. I will stand up and say this is not normal. I will be one who says this is not okay. I will not click on the links because I'm curious. Whether it be a medical issue, whether it be that there are wires being crossed in the brain, whether it be something that's happening at birth, it's still a choice for you to put your hands or your eyes on a child. Is a choice. You can choose to do it, you can choose not to do it. But your choice, if this is anybody out there listening who does have an attraction for children, your one choice brings down entire families and entire communities. Ladies and gentlemen, folks, please, let's do our part. Let's do our part in ending child trafficking, at least doing our part to stop it as much as we can, child pornography. And I said last time, if you watch any type of pornography, you are part of the problem. Any of these things, if you pay for a prostitute, you are the problem. I'm being bold enough to say you are the problem. If you go to a prostitute, you go to these strip joints, what we already talked about, where they're proving that that's the hub for young girls to be exploited, you're a problem. You watch pornography online, you're a problem. Because these people who put that pornography there aren't just saying, no, I'm only going to do it for 30-year-olds. These are children. We talked about last time how they're being injected with hormones to make them look a little bit older, but they're not. Let's do our part. Let's do our part. Let's save our children. I know this was disturbing. I hope it touched something inside of you. These are facts. I got them. These are facts. You can find these facts. Hamilton's child pornography cases are rising. Ontario, child pornography and the child sex industry is rising exponentially. Globally, it's rising. We got to do something. We got to do something. Thank you for tuning in, and I will have more articles on this because I'm going to have a voice. Stay blessed and stay safe.